Welcome, welcome friends. Welcome to Tuesday Template. I'm so excited that you're joining me again. We're back to twice a week. I hope you had fun joining me on Fun Fold Fridays. If you've missed any of them, go back and watch them. They're still there. And it was so much fun to join you. But I'm back for twice a week, and I am coming to show you a template. We're going to look at a card template. And one of the things that Stampin' Up! Has done is posted a number of templates along the bottom of this catalog here. To show you tonight is this one right here. This one right here. It's got four strips and a circle in the center. Now when you look at that, you think, and we're going to go through all of these, but when you look at that, you think, oh my gosh, how am I going to make a card out of that? Well, that's what I'm here to show you. And one of the things that you can do with a template is, if you have a lot of scrap paper and things and bits and pieces like I do, you can make up a sample card. Or you can take a picture of your card when it's done and then put that with the template. But the templates are great to go to when you're, oh gosh, I have to make a card. I don't know what idea I'm going to use. You can look through your templates and eventually, if you're printing off the PDF, email me for the PDF. I'd be glad to send it out to you. You get your binder full. Then you can just go through your binder and look for some of those ideas, or just on my videos, look through the templates and see what you think. But I'm going to show you 3 different cards using this very same template. And each card, it starts out simple, and then there's a little bit more work with each card as we go along. So the 3 cards I'm going to bring to you tonight are this one. So that's the simple one, just paper and some gems. Then we go to stamping on paper using our stamps, putting a design, wrapping ribbon, and fussy cutting. And another little technique with blending brushes. And then this one, I'm going to show you how to wrap a ribbon around so that you don't see any frayed edges. See that? You couldn't just wrap a ribbon around the card or make it come to the edge, because it would fray, and so we want to cover that up. So I'm going to show you how to cover that up as well. So three different techniques on the same template. So let's get to my craft table. All right, down at my craft table, I think we're going to do some sponging today. I've got all my stamps ready to go. So the first card that I showed you was this card here. So we're going to make that card. And this is a great pattern to use up scraps. So I just went digging through my scraps and I found scrap paper that worked together. So you see that I have this one with the flowers, and then I put the gold on it. And so this one, and I'm missing one of my strips. So then I had these strips and I thought, okay, that's going to work on a card as well. So let's get those glued down. Now I've done all the pre-cutting ahead of time. You have watched me cut. Card size 4 1/4, cut at 5 1/2, and you get an A card. These strips are 1 1/2 inches wide, and this one is 1 1/4. So 1 1/2, 2 of them at 1 1/2, 1 at 1 1/4. So the 2 prints are going to go top and bottom. And then you're just going to eyeball it. So I will glue that down. So I'm going to work bottom first, then the top. I have this card here just to show you. This one is a different print, but the same idea. Glue that down. You just eyeball it. And then this strip is going to go here. And then I'm going to have a banner strip going there. So here's my banner strip. And this you can make short. You could cut it here and make a banner here and make, so I'll show you. I'll just cut it in half. You're gonna think that's way too short. You just watch a little trick that I've got up my sleeve. So you may found the perfect color, but it was too short. Well, let me show you a little trick. I love showing little tricks. So there's one banner end. And then cut this end. So you just cut part way up in the center and then cut from the corner to that tip and from the corner to that tip. And then what you do is just cut it in half and then put one end over here and one end over here. And the circle that we make is going to go in the center and it covers it up. So there, if you have a piece and it's too short, that's exactly what you can do. Now this one, I put the circle over here for a reason, was that the space between here and here wasn't the same as here and here. Well, it's all about a camouflage, all about a cover up. So that's what I did. So this one, I'm going to put the circle in the center because everything is lined up beautifully. And this can go over the edge, right to the edge of the card. There's one side down. And the other side. My circles. I'm just doing kind of monochromatic on this card, but not quite. My bigger circle. So I have my melon mambo out. I have my silicone mat under here because this is going to be just a acrylic stamp, so we want something cushioned underneath. Glue this down. That up on dimensionals. I'm clearing out a number of dimensionals where I just have the edges. Use them up. They're sticky as well. So this is the template. Now, if you have scrap paper and you have lots of it, you could have the template as I showed at the beginning. That's great. And it's just great. And you're like, that really doesn't give me a lot of creativity. You can always make a card or take a picture of the card and put it with it, just so that you have an idea of what you can do. So I'm going to add some, sorry about that noise. I'm going to add some bling to this. All right, so this one's iridescent rhinestone, so it's a clear color, so it will pick up the color. One down here, one over here. That's 3. I always like to work in odd numbers. Put that one there. All right. So there's card number 1. I'm giving you 3 ideas. There's card number 1 using that. layout. Now off to card number 2. And this one I'm going to just show you with some white cardstock. It has no design on it. But we're going to make our own design with the Latte Love. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with that. So we're going to take the coffee spill first and espresso. One day in the future, I'm going to show you different things that you can do with stamps that you may look at and think, how am I going to do that? Or how can I use it in a different way so that I get... This is just a coffee splat, and you want to just turn it around. And if you can tell by my sheet, I don't know if you can tell with this shading that's on there what I'm going to be doing. Does anybody have any ideas? Any ideas at all? So some really cute coffee splatters. I'll put one just off the edge here. There we go. So there's coffee splatters. Next one we're going to do is coffee beans. This is a really cute stamp set that I have just seen so many cute ideas for. And just be sure to turn your coffee beans so they're not all in the same direction. You can go off the page. And then I have a single coffee bean where I can fill in the areas that have a lot of spaces. So remember the card I showed you at the front of the video, and I cannot find my card. Here it is. This is the card we're making. So you can see this, my paper is looking pretty white compared to what's on here. So if you know what's happening, let me know. Right, there's our coffee beans. Now, in the center on that narrow piece is the coffee swirls. So I'm just taking this, just doing swirly coffees. So there we go. We have those 3 done. And now I'm going to take my blending brush. So I've got all kinds of techniques that are happening in here as well in these cards, just to show you, you know, you can do it just with paper. You can get creative. And so we're going to do some sponging just to give it a little bit more of that coffee flavor. There's one mark that's a spill mark. I could have done the spill mark in here. That would have looked cute as well. It's just using my blending brush. Filling this in. I'm using early espresso flavor. You don't want to eat it. Ink color, so that's quite an appropriate ink color. So now that's just going to wash out of my brush with soap and water. So we have the card here, and we're just going to glue things down. And again, it doesn't matter how you glue it down, just that you're going to have 2, the wide one at the top and bottom, these wide ones, the 1.5 inch. And the narrow one, it can be in the middle somewhere. It could be, you could have this banner down one as well. Hey, it's your card. That's what I love about card making, and I love seeing all the different designs that are made. And some of these I've seen with die cuts, where they die cut, or embossed the paper so it stood up. And I love that technique, but I just have not done it. First of all, I don't have the space for die cuts in a die cutting machine. Second of all, I'm not sure I have the strength to do it. I'm going to try that out. But still, again, my space limits what I can do. And I feel like I can do just as much with punches and builder punches and stamp sets, that I don't need the die cuts or the embossing machines. Now, if they made an electric one, I might go for it. But again, you know, when your space is only so big, I'm limited by my space. Yep, I can go up on my walls, but again, that's just the way it is. Now, with this one, I don't want to, I've got 2 small pieces, and I wanted to show you something, but I do have that color. I want to cut this much off. All right, I'm going to make my banner. So again, as I said, this takes care of a lot of scraps that you may have. And that's what I've done, is just taken out some scrap paper. So there's my 1¼ inch and the banner. Now I'm going to show you something else you can do. I'm going to take my Stampin' Seal and just cover the back. All right. And then I've got some twine. You can use some string or twine, something that's thin, because you're going to wrap it around twice. So I've got the Stampin' Seal on the back, and I'm just going to wrap this, secure that down, and then bring that around. And you don't want it too tight, you want it just loose. Take that off and secure that down. There we go. All right. And I'm going to secure that to my card with, right here. These work well for this because I can put it one on top of the other. And then secure this down. And then this one, you can tie a bow here. So if we're not good tying a bow, then this really helps. Whoops, I think I need a longer tail if I'm going to get a bow. So just tie it off and then make your bow. And just adjust your tails and tighten it up. There we go. So now I'm going to show you how I did the coffee cup and that stamp and how I colored it, because that is kind of unique. But the one thing is I've got blue paper everywhere. I need my white. This is the coffee cup. So this one is just with paper and some dimensionals. This one I'm adding some ribbon, and I'm going to fussy cut this out. Do the mug here. And on the mug, set that there. I picked a color. Now I have still old stamp sets from scrapbooking days, and I've often talked about that. Use what you've got. And I have seen these water pencils, which they use with their stamp sets. And I think this just makes your stamp set go farther along, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I'm going to use this one. It's got a fine tip. So there's, you can see that has a fine tip on it. There's water in the inside. So if I need water and I need to stir this up, I will do that. But you have to be very careful that you don't make your paper too wet. So I have not ever added water. And so you can just dry it off by going like this over here. What I've just done is taken some ink like this, and then just slowly, it's not going to be the type that you can drag for as long as you can. You're going to constantly have to go back. But if you saw on this part got too wet, and therefore it crinkled a bit as well. So I don't make this too wet. If I was working with watercolor paper, then yes, I could make it wetter, because we have special watercolor paper that it can be wet and it'll dry flat, which is kind of cool. And this, you want to be careful that you don't get the brown ink too wet, because that bleeds in with the blue. So just another way to add color. I have tried the markers. I'm not good with it. I see, and then we have some blending markers, which I have not purchased yet, but this is a good way to add some color to your work. Without it costing an arm and a leg. I'm all about doing crafts, but if I can find a way to do it for, less, if I can make my money go farther, then that's what I'm all about. That's me. And you may want to try the blending markers. I have seen people do some really cool work with blending markers. There we go, I think. And you can even add it into here. And maybe, now it's not working so great with this old ink because you have to really press down and these brushes are really light. But to get some darker right here. Wonder if I make it wet. You just have to squeeze it to get the water out. But I don't want to make the brush too wet. All right, that's about it all that I'm going to do on that. So I've got that. Now we want the inside of the mug, which I have on a stamp somewhere right here. So I'm going to stamp this in Early Espresso. Just put this in the mug, stamp that down. There we go. We've got our decorative latte. And then I'm going to fussy cut it out. I have no issues fussy cut. I love fussy cutting. Yeah, this one I didn't make as wet, so that's good. Still a little damp, but it's not wet like my last one was. So I think it's just a matter of getting that And then maybe letting it dry. Just letting it dry so the paper hardens. And this is the thin white that I'm doing it on. So maybe the thicker white might be better. I'm gonna have to try that. Okay, so there's my coffee cup. That looks a lot better. So I'm getting there. Practice makes perfect, right, folks? So that's the pen. And that brush, you just clean it off like this. And that's clean. Look at that. So quite, you can see the cleanliness of it. Really neat brushes. So I'm going to put this right here, just like that. So I'll put adhesive dot on the top and the bottom. Now remember I showed you this trick, these adhesive dots. Just go back and forth with the marker. Now you can see, oh, I have something I need to take off, whereas before it was hard to figure that out. And I got some glue on here. So there we go. Now we're going to have a stamp of hello there. Get my white back out. With the early espresso. Now this one has a little saying at the bottom, but I cut it off because all I wanted was the hello there. So remember when I'm fussy cutting, I'm moving the paper and I'm not like I'm just cutting with the scissors, but I'm not moving the scissors. I'm more moving the paper. And you get a better cut. Sorry, that got right up in your face. Gives you a better cut. So now I can just cut that little word off, and I'm doubling up on that stamp and using it more or less for other things. So that's quite cool. And then this one, I think I'll put that one just down here. I'll put that up on. See, I love those dots where I've colored the back, because now I can see, oh, I've got some backing that I need to take off because that won't stick down at all. There we go. So there we go. 2 cards made. And I changed this up a bit too. I put the splotches at the top on this one and the coffee beans on the bottom of this one. So that was card number 2. Card number 3, I've wrapped a ribbon around. So I'm going to show you how to make this, but make it on a mat. So I've got my card and I've got my mat, and this is 3 3/4 by 5 inches for the mat. And that will fit on here, but we're going to cover it up first. So I need where did my papers go? There they are. So again, these are just my scrap papers that I went looking through my scraps, and they're making, gosh darn, really cute cards. This one you're just going to put right on the bottom and right on the edge. Perfect fit. This one goes at the top. Perfect fit. glue off my fingers. Then this is going to go in this down here. And then I have some green ribbon. Now I can't really wrap it around this card because you would see it on the back and you would see it on the inside. And it's nice just to wrap your ribbon, because if I went like this, you get those frayed edges. So you want to wrap it around like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Stampin' seal, pretty well tell. So there's one edge and there's the other edge. And I'm just going to secure this down, wrap it around. I love this green with the Orchid Oasis. That is just gorgeous. Now so I'm going to show you something else. Gosh, you're getting all kinds of little tricks and tips tonight as well. I have these stickers. So if you have stickers of any kind, so let me take the word hello, and what I did was I popped it onto the Orchid Oasis. So I'm going to take the word hello and pop it on the orchid. Oh, maybe I'll go across the bottom. Whoops. There we go. And then I just cut this out. There. And that will go on here. So you can use little, I think I got a little, there we go, a little tip on there that I didn't want on there. So I'm going to put the adhesive dots on. Pop this baby up. Hello. And then I'm going to make a bow. When I first made a bow, oh my gosh, I was all thumbs. And I've learned almost to make a bow without those long tails so that I'm not using as much ribbon and I'm making it go farther. Because you're always going to pull it tighter. And that one's a little big. I'll pull it tight. There we go. There we go. And I'm going to use a little glue dot. Ribbon is really hard to adhere with glue. You really have to wait for it to dry. The glue dots work a little better, but these little mini glue dots work really, really well. They're clear, you won't see them. So we've got the front of the card made, and now let's secure it down to here. And then that ribbon will be covered on the back. And you get a nice, clean card. Isn't that gorgeous? Now I've just left it with the ribbon. So there's our cards that we've made up. So on this one, we used ribbon, and I showed you how to hide the ribbon. This one, my space between here was too small, so I had to wrap the ribbon twice. And I'm wondering why it's too small. Oh well, it's okay. I have to put a little bit of glue there to stick that down. Then this was the coffee mugs, so we put a little picture on there. And then this one was the first card we made. So there is your template, made 3 different ways, made very extensively. This went from simple, this paper, a few gems, to doing some fussy cutting, some stamping on paper, some using blending brushes to blend some color on there, a stamp, and some fussy cutting, and a ribbon and bows. And this one is a ribbon, but hiding it behind a base. This one, we hid it behind the banner, and this one, we hid it behind the base. So some great ideas for Tuesday template. That's the template: 3 strips, a banner, a saying. There you go. You've got a card. So I hope you enjoyed that. It was fun testing it out, especially these blending brushes. I have not worked with them before, so I'm sure I'm going to take this off and redo it, because I don't like that it pulled out the brown in there, but I'll redo that one. But I liked the second one I did. It was much better. So much, much better. All right. Well, what do you think, folks? The 3 cards that we did. So we took a template. Just have to go through. So we took this template right here, this one right here. So it's got 3 strips of paper and a banner and a circle in the center. And you think, well, how am I going to build that up? How am I going to, that doesn't give me any ideas whatsoever. That's just like paper cut up. Well, once you've watched the whole video, you will have seen that we made symbol cards with just paper and some gems, glued them down, the 3 strips. Then we went to stamping on paper. So this is like a coffee stain. This is the steam of the coffee, and this is the coffee beans. I reversed it on each card. We did some blending of color in the mug. We did a sentiment that we fussy cut out, that I fussy cut out, but we did it together. You watched me. And we did that and wrapped some ribbon around the binding, the banner, wrapped some ribbon around the banner and tied a bow, and did some blending brush around here. So that's our second card. And our third card was using a mat for the back so that we could wrap the ribbon around it so that we don't see the frayed edges. And then I just used a sticker and then put it on the Orchid Oasis and cut around it and used that and tied a bow, put some gems on it. So each one built on each other. Same template, but a little buildup on each of those cards. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to bring some more Tuesday templates ideas. What is great about these Tuesday templates is all this paper I got out of my scrap stash, not the card base, because that I don't have enough. I don't have big card stacks, but I used for the front of the card. This was all my cardstock, designer series paper stash that I have in there. So these templates are going to be a good way to use them up. So keep joining me for Tuesday template. Thursday is going to be Thursday tip time. I'm going to bring you some tips. I'm going to show you how to use some stamps in a different way so it increases their use of that stamp. Just some really cool ideas that I'm going to bring you at Thursday tip time. So thank you. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate that you spend time with me. I love spending time with you. Create those cards, but more importantly, send those cards out, sharing your kindness, one card at a time.